Hey everybody, I know, I have to finish the sphere, but I'm mad at it. So, you get a little palette organization demo. Ooh, glare. I painted some lemons, and I show you what colors I chose and kind of some of my thinking about pre-mixing. Uh, Enjoy! Okay, we've had a little bit of a studio life like this before, but I always think it's something that people have a hard time deciding on if they don't paint with a completely set palette every time. So I'm going to paint some lemons. I'll take a picture, put them in here, because I don't feel like taking my phone off of its fancy little tripod. So I'm going to paint some lemons in a kind of like demo fashion for a class I'm going to teach. And I thought it'd be interesting if I told you guys how I decide what colors I'm going to put out and why. So as we all know, lemons are yellow, and as objects recede from the light in terms of the form, they get more neutral. But sometimes when you're looking at it, you're like, okay, but it's not gray neutral. It's got definitely some kind of hue neutral. And so mine are on the orangish end of hue. So, first of all, I am limited by the fact that I only have cad yellow medium. So that's my most chromatic yellow. And therefore, no matter how much more chromatic or light or whatever my lemons are, this is my lemon. I can't hold my palette knife up to it and match it and it be right, because it's just not chromatic enough. I need something a little higher chroma. You can see this kind of tends to, well, boy, you can hardly see, but it kind of tends to orange. A cad yellow light would be better for this if I were trying to match life. But it's okay. I don't have to match life. I am a talented conceptual painter. So talented. So I'm going to use this as my lemon. Now, why don't I want to just lighten it, you say? I've got some titanium white here. I could add titanium white to it. And that might work, but every time I add white to anything, it kills the chroma. So it's not going to work. This is it. That's my lightmost facing plane that's not influenced by the highlight. That's how we say it. Now I'm going to adjust it to be a little closer to what life looks like. And my lightmost facing plane, because my windows are very much over here, my lightmost facing plane is kind of on the other side of the lemons, or on the contour of the lemons. So I don't have to use this very much. And then as the lemons get towards me, they start getting influenced by highlight. So I am going to be able to add white to my yellow pretty fast. So that basically covers my light areas. I'll obviously mix a lot of stuff to deal with them when I get to them. But what I wanted to talk about now was the rest of the palette that I chose. So this is our lemon. This is raw sienna. I chose raw sienna because it does a pretty good job of beginning the neutralizing process. Boy, I'm really sorry. You guys just can't see colors at all. Not much I can do about it. See, it's a lot less yellow than it was. That's nice. And then I chose, oh my god, guys, burnt sienna, my least favorite color on the whole planet. But the reason I chose it was that I want to make a neutral that tends to orange. This certainly tends to orange. But I'm also using cerulean to neutralize it. So I want to make blue and orange, make a nice neutral. Look at that. It's blending right into my palette, like you can't even see it. It's a little on the purple side because burnt sienna is really closer to red than it is to like a cad orange. But this is going to do wonders in my yellow to tip me to a neutral that isn't too green. A lot of people, when they paint lemons, they get a really green halftone. And I think it makes the lemons look kind of sick. So I'm shooting to keep mine, I'm going to try to make a nice low halftone for you. I'm shooting to keep mine a little to the orange. Looking nice. I really like that. I can't hold it up. Remember, I can't optically match any values because I'm having to compress all my values due to my limited uppermost. But I can optically match my shadows, which are quite orangey. Take some of this as raw umber. So far we've covered that I have titanium white, cad yellow, raw sienna, burnt sienna, cerulean, raw umber, and black. I probably won't touch the black. Black with any yellow just goes green. And I, like I just said, want to keep the green out of this experience. So this time I am going to just mix up something that I feel like looks like the shadow, and then I'm going to hold it up on my palette knife in a way that it doesn't get glare. You know, so like there you can't really read the value. I want to make it nice and flat on the back of my knife. You can see how the value changes depending on what light I hold it up in. I want to hold it up in a light where I feel like I'm not getting any glare on it. And I'm going to hold it up and squint down and put it right in front of my shadow. And this is pretty good. The squinting will tell me if it's too light or too dark. This is just a hair too dark. So now what am I going to do? I like its hue. I'm just going to add some of this. I needed some kind of higher value, not white. I don't like putting white in things unless I have to. White just kind of makes everything feel dull. So I try to do, you notice the only time I touched white was for my highlights. And that's the only time I need it for a chromatic object. Obviously humans, if they're Caucasian, have a whole lot of white in their skin tones. And so you have to put white in there. But colored objects in nature, trees, whatnot, they don't need to have white in them. Stop putting white in them. Okay, I like this. That's pretty good. So I'm just going to keep mixing up little piles that are going to go from most chromatic to this value and more neutral than this, right? Because as I turn away from my lightmost facing plane that's not influenced by the highlight, I get more and more and more and more and more neutral, and then I can have more chroma in the shadow. So that's kind of an important thing to realize. Like right out of the shadow should be really neutral. But obviously still yellow, right? Let's not forget that we're working with a yellow object. Oh. And I want it to just be one value higher, because this is the very last tile before I'm in the shadow. So I want it to be, sorry, I'm trying to get it nice and even for you. I want it to be nice and neutral, more neutral than my shadow, and just a little brighter or higher in value. So I think I got something nice right there. And if it's too big of a jump, I can just neutralize this a little bit more. What I don't want to do is go mixing some of my shadow in there. Yes, that would serve you value-wise, but like I just said, this is a pretty chromatic pile. I don't want to go mixing more chroma into my least chromatic brush stroke. And everything from here up can get more chromatic, but this needs to be pretty neutral, or comparatively neutral. So that was a whole lot of information for you, and if I like what happens, I might take some pictures and edit them into the end of this. And yeah.